Hello, everybody. This is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, Part 4, Chapter 23. Vronsky's wound was dangerous, although it did not reach the heart. He hung for several days between life and death, and for the first time he was able to speak. Varya, his sister-in-law, was alone with him in the room. "Varya," said he, looking at her gravely, "I was wounded accidentally, and please tell everybody so. Otherwise it will seem too ridiculous." Varya bent towards him without replying, examining his face with a happy smile. His eyes were bright, but no longer feverish, but their expression was stern. "No, thank the Lord," she replied. "Are you suffering?" "A little on this side," said he, pointing to his chest. "Let me change the dressing, then." He watched her change it, and when she had finished, "You know," said he, "that I'm not delirious now. See, I beg of you that nobody says that I shot myself intentionally. Nobody says so, I hope. However, that after this you will give up shooting yourself accidentally," she said with a questioning smile. Probably I shall not, but it would have been better." In spite of these words, as soon as he was out of danger, Vronsky felt that he was free from a part of his misfortunes. By his actions he had washed away, as it were, his shame and humiliation which weighed on him before. Henceforth, he could think calmly of Alexey Alexandrovitch, recognizing his magnanimity without being crushed by it. Besides, he was able to be himself again, to look people in the face and to resume his customary habits. What he could not tear from his heart, in spite of all his efforts, was the regret, bordering on despair, at having lost Anna forever. Since he was firmly resolved, now that he had redeemed his sin towards Karenin, not to place himself between the repentant wife and her husband. But he could not put out of his heart the regret at the loss of her love, any more than he could blot out the memory of happy moments spent with her, and not half appreciated till now, and whose charm pursued him continually. Serpukhowskoy thought of sending him to Tashkent, and Vronsky accepted the position without the least hesitation. But the nearer the time for his leaving came, the more cruel seemed the sacrifice to duty. To see her once more and then bury myself and die, he thought. And while paying his farewell visit to Betsy, he expressed this wish to her. The latter set out at once as an ambassador to Anna, but brought back her refusal. So much the better, thought Vronsky on receiving her reply. This is a weakness which would have cost me my strength. The next morning, Betsy herself went to Vronsky, announcing that she had heard through Oblonsky that Alexey Alexandrovitch consented to a divorce, and that consequently there was no longer anything to hinder Vronsky from seeing Anna. Without giving another thought to his resolutions, without finding out whether he could see her, nor where her husband would be, forgetting even to escort Betsy home, Vronsky ran to the Karenins. He flew up the steps, rushed into the house, almost ran across the hall, entered Anna's room, and without even considering whether there might not be someone else in the room, he took her in his arms, covering her hands, her face, and her neck with kisses. Anna was prepared to see him again, and had made up her mind what to say to him, but she had no time to speak. Vronsky's passion overpowered her. She wanted to calm him, to calm herself, but it was impossible. Her lips trembled, and for a long time she was unable to speak a word. "Yes, you've conquered me. I am yours," she succeeded in saying at last. "So it had to be, and so long as we live it must be so. I know it now." "It's true," she replied, growing paler and paler as she put her arms around Vronsky's neck. "However, there's something terrible in this after what has happened. All that will be forgotten. We shall be so happy. If there were any need of our love increasing, it would increase, because there's something terrible about it," said he, raising his head. She could only reply with a look of her loving eyes. "I hardly know you with your short hair. You're lovely, just like a little boy. But how pale you are." "Yes, I'm still very weak," she replied, smiling, and her lips began to tremble again. "We will go to Italy. You'll grow strong there. Is it possible that we could be like husband and wife alone by ourselves?" said she, looking at him in the eye. "I'm only surprised at one thing, that it has not always been so. Stiva says that he will consent to everything, but I'll not accept his generosity," said she, looking thoughtfully above Vronsky's head. "I do not wish for a divorce. It's all the same to me now. I only wonder what he will decide with regard to Serozha." Vronsky could not understand how, in these first moments of the reconciliation, she could think of her son and of divorce. How could it be all the same to her? "Don't speak of that. Don't think of it," said he, turning Anna's hand over and over in his, to draw her attention to him, but she didn't look at him. "Ach, why didn't I die? It would have been so much better," said she, and tears flooded her face. She tried nevertheless to smile, that she might not give him pain. Once Vronsky would have thought it impossible to give up the flattering and perilous mission of Tashkent, but now he refused it without any hesitation. Then, noticing that his refusal was misinterpreted by the authorities, he gave in his resignation. A month later, Alexey Alexandrovitch was left alone with his son, and Anna went abroad with Vronsky, refusing a divorce and peremptorily taking leave of him.